Welcome to the Coffee Club, broadcasting live from New York with your host, Felix, and co-host, Dr. Marc. So let's have a cup of coffee and enjoy the show.
There is no heaven, there is no hell. There is only this world and its dark reflection. And we do not know in which of the two worlds we are.
We are in the geriatric center.
That's right.
And
as Jackie Gleason would say, how sweet it is.
good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the retirement home.
That's right. I am Dr. Marc.
And I am Felix, and this is the Coffee Club.
And today's topic, retirement. Now, not just, Felix happened to say to me, gee, it's kind of one-sided. How many people listen to us who are actually retired? Well, you don't have to be retired in order to talk about this.
That's true, but I'm just more concerned about some people saying retirement. I'm not going to bother listening to it.
Well, except for one thing. We all had visions of what retirement might be, okay? But because of the crash of '08, because of people eating up their IRAs, college accounts, their savings, just in order to keep their house if they were fortunate enough, how have they adjusted? People are working longer now. People, the originally having visions of retirement at 62, 65, 66 might be long gone.
Also, Social Security keeps extending the age.
It used to be 62, now it's 66, with Medicare kicking in, I believe, 2 years later?
No, Medicare 65.
They still care, okay.
Yeah.
But even with Medicare, I know you like to blame the Affordable Care Act, but, Medicare is dropping, raising their deductibles on the retired population. You take it from people who really don't have it. I remember my dad, when he was retired, he worked for the post office. For 20 years or so, he really did other things, before, worked hard his whole life, 1 and 2 jobs. And he said, look at this, Social Security is giving me a $5 raise for next year per month, but my drugs are costing me an extra $7.50.
Yeah.
Now, in the scheme of things, it's not a lot of money, but when you're talking about
Pennies.
being on that fixed income and only getting a certain amount, is it any wonder why some retired people share the can of dog food with their pet, with their favorite pet? You open up a can of dog stew, heat it up, put some spices in it, and put it over rice. You'd never know the difference.
You think?
Well, I haven't tried it yet. I haven't been pushed that far, but I don't know. I just don't know.
Dog food has a certain smell that just does not smell like human food.
Why? Some of it is made out of a horse, and, there was a big push at one time, remember, to horse burgers,
Yeah, no, I don't mean that. Just the smell of cat food, dog food is...
Well, I have to agree with you there, because I got into talking about arguments with wives, a heated discussion with my wife the other day. She said I should find a different dog food. Now, mind you, we've been using the same dog food for years. All of a sudden, my wife has decided that it smells, okay? I could have told her it smells. I mean, look, it doesn't smell appetizing, but it smells like dog food. The dog likes it. I have a dog that's living on borrowed time. I will give the dog whatever he wants. I'm not going to change his dog food and risk him not eating simply because my wife says it stinks,
Yeah, but just It does. You know, you just don't smell it. It smells, don't smell it.
You know, I'm reminded of a Honeymooners episode that was just on during the marathon when Ralph finds dog food in his refrigerator and he thinks it's an appetizer. And Norton thinks it's terrific because he started putting it on crackers. And then Ralph brings it into his boss because he figures he'd be able to make, you know, Ralph with his windfall, you know, that this is his wife's own recipe and that she could have it bottled or canned or something and make a lot of money. And then they discover that it's dog food, you know.
Did the boss like it, though?
Well, he thought it was tasty, but when he called in another guy to try it, and the funny thing was, somebody else said, gee, I don't know, the smell is familiar. I think it might be dog food. So, of course, Ralph says, what, are you crazy? Why would my wife have dog food? We don't even have a dog. So he calls in some guy who breeds dogs and raises dogs. And he says, that's exactly what it is. He said, I've been using it for the last 15 years. You know, so, of course, everybody is spitting it out. And Ralph goes home, and what's this doing here? And one thing leads to another, but, you know, he's always the fall guy.
Yeah. So what was it doing in the refrigerator?
Alice was watching her mother's dog, and he didn't know.
Oh.
Okay, so,
Well,
hey, listen, then there, I mean, I could go on and on. Then there was another one about a dog. Alice takes her mother's dog to the vet, and the vet sends the report back. Now, Ralph thought it was his report because he had gone for a physical the same time as the dog. Said he had arterial monochromia. Well, he has to take a warm saucer of milk and a pill. And he only has 6 months to live. This is another one of his harebrained schemes. So, you know, I mean, arterial monochromia you get, according to the show, from scratching for fleas. You know, what can I tell you? But it was funny. You know, hey, those shows, they don't make shows like that anymore.
This is one of the
don't.
things that retired people do. They watch a lot of old TV.
Hey, let me tell you, you know, the greatest thing is, you know, if your head is in the 60s and 70s between TV Land and some of the other channels during the day, I mean, it used to be the only thing to watch during the day was soap operas and talk shows, you know, or game shows for women. Now you have 24-hour cable for news. You could watch all these old shows that you grew up with. I mean, it's great. And Facebook, which, you know, I go onto Facebook a couple of, either I don't go on it or I go on it a couple of times a day. Between listening to the music, which are all oldies, you know, today I had a marathon of Johnny Maestro and the Crests, and then Johnny Maestro and the Brooklyn Bridge. I was in heaven. But, you know, they have these different groups, you know, born in the 50s, raised in the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, and then old music. And people are very nice. You know, it's very nice to chat. You know, they say something, you comment, they comment back. You know, I mean, look, I'm not looking to make friends. These people live all over the country. Some of them even live in Europe. And, you know, it kills some time. You know, plus with Google, you know, you go onto Google, you can find anything you want. If you have a pain, you go to WebMD. You know, I mean, so there are a lot of things to do, especially in the wintertime, when it's difficult to get out, because like today in New York it was bitter cold, but it's winter, so what do you expect? You go out, you do whatever chores you have to do, you come back, you have some hot coffee, and you watch something that you DVR'd on the television or some old show, or you go on the computer. You know, but speaking to our topic, which, by the way, is retirement, and our phone number, which we have neglected to give you in the first 10 minutes here, is 646-595-3275.
And you could join us on our chat room if it's working. I think it looks like.
As soon as it opens up.
Well, no, I opened up the other chat.
Felix keeps using the wrong key to open the door, I think, you know.
Well, this one doesn't seem to want to open.
But in any event, folks, you know, like I said, we all had preconceived notions about what retirement would be like. I know that when I started teaching, retirement was so far in the distant future, I never gave it a thought. I would just, as most people do, go in every year, every day, do your job, you know. In fact, I was talking on the phone to a very dear friend.
You got friends?
Well, acquaintances, you know, except for you. You're my only friend, Felix. You know that,
You're in
don't
trouble.
you? I know. But she was talking about her kids. You know, 2 of her daughters just graduated college within a year of each other. The younger one graduated in June. And, you know, there are some problems. The kids, you know, her son is about 5 years older than his sisters are. But, you know, the girls thought it would be different. Okay, they thought that work would be different. And I said to her, look, you know, when you come from a college environment, you spend 4 years in college, you're pretty much insulated. You know, that's not the real world. You come out here and you have a job, and you find out very quickly that things aren't what you thought they would be. Either the job is not, you know, let's face it, how many people take a job simply for the experience, really, especially now because jobs are so hard to come by. You know, you go to college, you major in something, you hope that you're going to find a job, and then you come out and you find yourself doing something entirely different. I know, speaking, you know, for my wife's family, she had an older brother who graduated from Parsons School of Design as an interior designer, and he was an account rep for Swiss Air for the longest time at American Airlines, selling group packages, okay? Mm-hmm. Her stepsister, who is about a year younger than her, majored in social work, got a master's in social work. She's doing social work. But then she has another stepsister who's the same age, who majored in French, of all things, decided that she didn't want to be a teacher. She tried it, not even in a public school, in a private school. Didn't like it, bounced around from job to job, subsidized by mommy. Okay, wound up getting a degree in nursing when she was well into her 40s, and now she's a nurse and she's very happy. She has another stepsister who majored in music, in flute, okay, the flute at Ithaca.
Yeah.
And she was working out of a bank, but she lost her job. You know?
Well, let me ask you, how many stepsisters does this girl have?
My wife?
Yeah.
My wife has 3 stepsisters.
Oh.
It's like, you know, the Wicked Witch, you know, 3 sisters, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this just